Coming up on this hour of Chris 6 Sunrise, the suspect in Wednesday's shooting of 2 National Guardsmen has been identified. We have the latest on their condition this morning.
And many businesses around town will be closed today for the Thanksgiving holiday. We have a look at what city closures might affect you. Plus,
basic amenities. I'm Melissa Trevino in Robstown at the new Oasis Electric Cooperative, where they have a mission of service that's changing lives half a world away. I'll tell you about their latest trip to give light to villagers in Guatemala.
Bom dia, or should I say good morning. Welcome to Chris 6 Sunrise. You're waking up with the Hoffmans. Once again, we are back. I'm Michelle Hoffman.
I'm Brian Hoffman. We're just getting back in the saddle, folks. As you can tell, we were off for a little bit for her brother's wedding over in Brazil. We're so glad to be able to share Thanksgiving morning with y'all. And don't worry, we won't be going anywhere again anytime soonish. But hey, who was holding down the fort? Thank you so much for your time, sir. We've got our meteorologist, Stephen Jones. How you doing, buddy?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Doing great today. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all as well. How are you feeling, waking up, getting back into the routine of it?
A little rusty, but thankful to be here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, something else to be thankful for. This board, plenty of greens out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, y'all were looking at the SPID Skycam, and you're right, it looks much calmer than what we've been recently seeing. So not too bad as we're kicking off our Thanksgiving Thursday morning. Let's get into the in-depth look here at the traffic flow out there. Starting off with the New Harbor Bridge. If you're going to be heading to or from Portland this morning, it's looking good in green both directions, so no issues there. As we work into Corpus Christi Ocean Drive, a pretty decent slowdown there as you're working off of Ennis-Jocelyn, so just to account for a couple extra minutes there. But SPID, Saratoga, and Crosstown Expressway, those three coming in the clear this morning as we're heading out the door over into Flower Bluff now. Flower Bluff Drive, nice and green this morning, as well as Waldron Road, and SPID looks like it has since cleared up that minor slowdown we were watching for. Over onto the island, not too bad either. The only minor slowdown there as we're working up 361 off of SPID, so really not too bad, and those drive times all coming in the green this morning. So wherever you're coming from and going to, going to be good and green to head out the door and kick off your Thanksgiving.
Stephen, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. So there's going to be some changes to city services today, and that's, of course, because it's Thanksgiving holiday. Some people have off. Well, hey, City Hall and the City Call Centers will be closed today and on Friday. Keep that in mind. All public libraries will also be closed today. There's also going to be no trash or recycling pickup today. If that's your pickup, well, that's going to be changed to Saturday. The Lozano Golf Course and the Oso Golf Course will be open today with reduced hours, though, 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Collier Pool and the Natatorium will be closed today. Corpus Christi Gym and Ben Garza Gym also closed today, along with the recreation and senior centers.
In your national headlines now, the suspect in Wednesday's shooting of 2 National Guard members in the nation's capital has been identified. Officials say he is 29-year-old Rahman Ullah Lakhanwal. He was last seen in Bellingham, Washington, and was identified as an Afghan national. The 2 National Guard members were on patrol when Lakhanwal reportedly came around the corner and opened fire. Both guardsmen are in critical condition at this time. The suspect was also shot and was being treated at a hospital. No word yet on the motive. The death toll continues to rise in Hong Kong after a deadly fire tore through a massive housing complex. At last check, 55 people are dead and at least 123 people were injured, including 8 firefighters. Rescue officials say the extreme temperatures inside the buildings are making it hard for them to reach residents they know are trapped, and more than 4,000 people lived in the housing complex, many aged 65 and older. The cause of the fire is not known, but a criminal investigation has been launched. President Donald Trump is brushing off concerns about Steve Witkoff's talks with Russia. In an October 14th call between Witkoff and Russian foreign policy advisor Yuri Ushakov, Witkoff coached Ushakov on how to have Putin approach Trump. He also advised for the 2 leaders to speak before Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the White House. And the talks eventually led to the recent 28-point peace plan. The call was transcribed by Bloomberg, and Trump responded to the concerns about Witkoff, saying, in part, that's what a dealmaker does.
Well, hey, back here at home, dry grass conditions help fuel a fire that sent one man to the hospital. It happened just after 10 Wednesday morning on the 5900 block of County Road 73. When crews arrived, the RV was in flames and the fire was spreading towards nearby propane tanks and a storage unit. The firefighters were able to save that second building, but the RV was destroyed. One man was hospitalized for smoke inhalation as well.
Melissa Trevino, your neighborhood news reporter in Robstown. Nearly 24 Nueces Electric Cooperative employees recently took a trip to Guatemala. The 3-week trip wasn't about relaxation. Instead, this crew was busy bringing electricity to residents of 2 remote villages. Flipping a light switch, a small act most of us never think about. For Journey lineman Manny Pina, it became a mission. Pina, who's been in the business for nearly 2 decades, traveled to Guatemala for the first time with a government-funded team. They brought power to 152 homes across 2 villages, wiring houses, running lines, hanging transformers, and even installing streetlights. Families, especially the children, were thrilled to see lights for the first time.
Well, good morning and happy Thanksgiving there, Coastal Bend. I'm meteorologist Stephen Jones, taking a live look out at our USS Lexington cam brought to us by First Community Bank. Not too bad at all. Nice and quiet this morning, mostly along the Harbor Bridge. The aquarium just got lit up, so not too bad out there at all. Just a little cool at 55 degrees and those winds out of the north at 10 miles an hour as we're kicking off our Thanksgiving morning. Those temperatures in your neighborhoods sitting at 48 for that cool spot up in George West this morning, 51 for both Cotulla and Beeville off to the north. Along the coast, a little bit warmer though. 62 the number we're watching for the Naval Air Station and Port Aransas. Kingsville coming in around 56 degrees currently. And as we compare ourselves to the nation, we're quite a bit warmer. It's not too bad here in the Corpus Christi area, especially when you compare ourselves to Bismarck, North Dakota, coming in at 17 degrees. Off to the north there in Buffalo, 34 just above freezing. But as you look to Texas, not too bad. Amarillo though, below that freezing mark, coming in at 26 degrees. So definitely some cool temperatures out there across the nation. For our dog walking forecast here in Corpus Christi though, today we've got Cash and Sunny on the board, already getting into the Christmas spirit, but I got a feeling that they're pretty thankful for each other as we're going through the Thanksgiving holiday. Temperatures for that walk this morning going to be 61 by 9 a.m., 71 as we're heading out for lunch towards that noon hour. Winds out of the northeast around 10 to 15 miles an hour, much lighter than what we were looking at yesterday. As we're looking at those daytime highs, only expected to get to about 73 to 4 degrees here in Corpus Christi, and really around much of the coastal bend you can expect those lower 70s for daytime highs. A little breezy out of the east northeast to 15 miles to upwards of 20 miles an hour there, with some of those gusts as we go into the afternoon. Forecast highs where you're going to be though, a couple 60s still on the board expected. Potentially Rockport coming in around 69 degrees, Freer 69, and even maybe a little cooler down to the southwest. Hebronville reading about 67 for that expected daytime high, but either way not too bad. And as we look at the upper level pattern, going to start to see a resurgence in those temperatures by Saturday, but by the time we're heading into Saturday, if you look at the upper levels, that's where we're going to start to see the next upper level trough working in, and in the wake of it, that next cold front expected to work its way into the area by Sunday, and then a reinforcing shot of cold air likely to make its way in by early next week. So looking like some pretty significantly below average temperatures as we go into the early start of December. For our muggy meter, also going to see a significant dry down whenever we're going into that Sunday time frame with that next cold front's arrival. It's also going to stir up some rain chances. First, going into Saturday night, could see a couple of thunderstorms, but after it works through, we might get just a little bit of a frontal overrunning situation, which when we do see those, that's where we start to get more of that kind of drizzly situation and some of those specks of green that start to show up on the board, but no major downpours. And that's kind of what it's looking like on the 7-day forecast, with a couple of those stronger storms possible into Saturday with the more unstable air. As we go into early next week, much cooler air going to work into the region, with potential for still a couple of isolated showers by Monday before we warm back up into those lower 70s going into next Wednesday.
President Trump spending the Thanksgiving holiday in Florida. I'm Nathaniel Reed. Coming up, the issues on his plate when he gets back to Washington next week.
Hey, welcome back, folks. 6:12 is your time, and you're getting a live shot of one of the emptiest SPID roads that we have seen in a long time. That's, of course, because it's Thanksgiving. A lot of people have the day off, so if you happen to be on your way to work, enjoy those empty roads. We're going to be checking in with the rest of them, plus, of course, the weather with meteorologist Stephen Jones in just a minute. But first, on to some other impacts of the Thanksgiving holiday, right?
Yeah, keep in mind, folks, government offices, banks, the post office, and the New York Stock Exchange are all taking today off so employees can celebrate Thanksgiving with their families. Some retail stores will also have the lights off today, including Target, Walmart, and Best Buy. So you have to wait to get that holiday shopping done until Black Friday, or of course go online. And folks, if you're in need of some last-minute ingredients for your Thanksgiving meal, you are in luck, because H-E-B stores will be open today from 6 a.m. to noon. Curbside service will be available from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Home delivery will also be available from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And if you are going to be out and about today and tomorrow, the Corpus Christi Police Department wants to remind you to lock your doors. Shopping centers are a hotspot for thieves, and according to CCPD, last year alone there were 1,600 auto burglaries here. 700 of those cars were unlocked. So make sure you don't make it easy for those Grinches. As they say, if you like it, lock it.
The president is out of Washington right now, but there's still plenty going on in the background here in D.C., including talks on what's next for a peace plan for Russia and Ukraine and the future of affordable health care for Americans. President Trump spending Thanksgiving at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. Meanwhile, a full plate of challenges awaits him back in Washington on the other side of the holiday. Chief among them, what will come next in a plan to end the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia. The president saying this on Air Force One on Tuesday.
We're having good talks. We started with Russia. We're having some talks with Russia. Ukraine is doing well. I think they're pretty happy about it. They'd like to see it end. And we won't know for a little while, but we're making progress.
The president pushed an expected meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and said he hopes to meet with both him and Russian President Vladimir Putin only when the deal to end this war is final or in its final stages. Trump says Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will head to Russia next week, and Secretary of the Army Dan Driscoll will meet with Ukrainians to continue efforts toward a lasting peace. Meanwhile, the future of an attempt to reach a healthcare deal is still unclear. Premiums are set to go up next year for millions of Americans who rely on Affordable Care Act subsidies. President Trump said Tuesday he might be open to extending those credits while working on a more comprehensive fix for the high cost of health care.
I'd rather not extend them at all.
Will you do it?
It may be some kind of an extension may be necessary to get something else done.
Senate Republicans promised to hold a vote on extending those subsidies next month as part of a deal to reopen the government. But there's no guarantee of a similar vote in the House of Representatives before the credits are set to expire at the end of this year. Nathaniel Reed, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Well, hey there, and happy Thanksgiving, Coastal Bend, as we take a live look out at our USS Lexington cam, brought to us by First Community Bank. The New Harbor Bridge in view, but pretty quiet this morning, thanks to being the Thanksgiving holiday, of course, and the aquarium nice and lit up, but pretty quiet out there in terms of the weather, just nice and chilly at about 55 degrees starting off our Thanksgiving morning here in Corpus Christi. Over the past 10 hours, a decent cool down from the mid-60s there at 8 p.m. down to the mid-50s now as we're rolling through the 6 a.m. hour. Going to see if we can shave off another degree or two as we head towards about 7 a.m. Temperatures in your neck of the woods cooler off to the north, 51 in Beeville. The cool spot going to be George West coming in at 48 degrees, 51 also off to the northwest there in Cotulla. Kingsville coming in at 56 degrees. Port Aransas a little warmer coming in at 62 this morning. And as we're looking at that Thanksgiving forecast for you today going through the holiday, of course, got the turkey running across the board. I probably would be too on this Turkey Thursday. As we're looking at those temperatures, though, not too bad at all. 73 degrees. Winds much lighter than yesterday out of the east-northeast, 10 to 15 miles an hour, and plenty of sunshine early in the day, but as we go into the evening and overnight hours, going to start to see a little bit more cloud cover working back into our region. For the upper level pattern, you can see that recent trough we had working to the east coast now, and that brought the cold front that we just saw working in yesterday morning. But as we go into the weekend, that next trough of cold air going to start working in by Saturday, and then sending a cold front our way by Sunday, and looks like a reinforcing shot of that cold air could be working in by early next week, leading to maybe even some upper 50s for some of those daytime highs, and also stirring up just a few rain chances as we head to Monday, and then it starts to dry us out completely. For forecast daytime high temperatures, though, going to be a bit of a roller coaster, especially over the next few days, coming right back up to the lower 80s by Saturday, and then right back down, a significant drop with that cold front's arrival on Sunday to those 60s, and then evenly upper 50s like I talked about potentially there by Monday into Tuesday. Then we're going to start to see the average and slightly above average temperatures return as we head into the back half of the week next week. For the future tracker, nice and quiet for the most part, but as we go into tomorrow, that's where we start to see some more cloud cover working in by tonight and then into tomorrow morning. But as we get closer to the coastal bend, you can see this is where we start to get some of that overrunning and seeing some of those specks on the green on the board as we go into tomorrow. So not going to be a major washout for our day tomorrow, but still just something to plan for in terms of those rain chances. And then they're going to start to get more widespread as we head in towards the weekend. You can see by Saturday, even into that Monday morning time frame, is really where I'm anticipating most of the rainfall to fall into the Corpus Christi area before we start to dry out heading into the early parts of next week. But even by Wednesday into Thursday, that's where we could see another shot of some rain trying to work in. So we could definitely use it, just not sure exactly how much we're going to pick up. We'll see how that shakes out as we go through about the next 7 to 10 days. For the current 7-day forecast, though, that nice cool down on the way by Sunday, cooling us into the 60s, if not the upper 50s. Overnight lows going as low as those lower 40s before we start to warm up just a little bit going back into next Wednesday.
Well, hey, it is Thursday, and it means it's time for Kitchen Cups. Coming up on Sunrise, we'll show you one local favorite spot and how it has a perfect score.
Now, your Chris 6 Kitchen Cups Report.
Welcome back, folks. Well, it's a Thursday. You know what time it is, right? It is Kitchen Cups time. We are taking a brief look at who's keeping it clean and who needs to clean things up. Well, our perfect score this week, well, goes to Paul's Seafood Market on SPID. Local spot has been around for more than 4 decades, and something that they pride themselves on, it's always keeping it clean for their customers.
You gotta make sure it's 100% clean for the customers, you know, fresh. Make sure it's fresh, clean, everything clean.
Yeah, big congrats to Paul's for keeping things clean. Also on this week's perfect score list, CCISD Central Kitchen on Westway, Full Send Barbecue on Taylor Street, Black Monk Tavern on Gullahar, and La Palmetera. That's number 4 on Morgan Avenue. And the low score of the week goes to Taqueria El Alteño, number 1 on Ayers. This week's list doesn't stop there, folks. If you want to see if your favorite chow hall is on the perfect list or one that needs a little bit of work, head on over to our website. That's christv.com.
Well, good morning and happy Thanksgiving there, Coastal Bend. Taking a live look out at our USS Lexington cam thanks to First Community Bank. The new Harbor Bridge in view. Not too many cars on it there, but the ones that are flowing nice and smoothly as we head closer to this 6:30 a.m. time frame. Getting a good look at the traffic flow around our region. A good amount of greens on the board. Let's get into it here. Starting off with the Harbor Bridge, just like we were seeing on the Skycam, good and green if you're heading to or from Portland this morning into Corpus Christi now. Ocean Drive, a couple of slowdowns there after you get off of Ennis Jocelyn working onto it. SPID, just a minor slowdown there, and it looks like Saratoga doing pretty good. Stay minor slowdown as you work up to Airline, so only a couple extra minutes if you're getting ready for that morning commute. Heading on over towards Flower Bluff Drive, looking good and green, as well as Waldron Road, and of course also working over to the island. Plenty of greens on the board, so those drive times for you this morning sitting all in the green, really wherever you're coming from, and going to be good and green to head out the door and kick off your Thanksgiving morning.
Getting ready for the holiday shopping season? So are scammers, and they're looking to take your personal information. I'm Adam Beam, looking at the common scams they use and how you can stay safe before you head to the stores.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Well, good morning and happy Thanksgiving there, Coastal Bend. Getting a live look out at Snoopy's Pier Skycam thanks to Matthew CCAC. Starting to see just a glimpse of the sunrise coming up. A few clouds out there. The water's nice and calm, and also nice and cool out there as we're starting off in the 50s for our Thanksgiving morning. But looking back at the past 10 hours, it's been a decent cool down. We were in the 60s still at 8 p.m. last night at that 65-degree mark. Seen that good 10-degree drop, 55 around 6 a.m. Reading about 57 now, just bouncing around a little bit, but we'll see if we can shave off another degree or two as we go through the next 30 minutes. 49 off to the northwest there in George West this morning. 51 the number for Cotulla as well as Beeville, then a little warmer along the coast. 62 over in Port Aransas and at the Naval Air Station. Kingsville coming in at the 56-degree mark this morning. But comparing ourselves to the nation, really not too bad here in the Coastal Bend. Looking off to the north, Denver 19 degrees. Bismarck there, North Dakota 17 degrees, and then off towards the northeast, Cleveland Cleveland coming in at 30. San Antonio there, 50 degrees. So not too bad as you work your way into south central Texas, but still nice and cool compared to what we've been used to here these past few weeks. For our dog walking forecast today, we've got Cash and Sunny on the board, getting into the Christmas spirit, but I think going through the Thanksgiving holiday looks like they're pretty thankful for each other. And those temperatures for this walk this morning, 61 by 9 a.m., getting to those lower 70s by the time we're heading out for lunch towards that noon to 1 p.m. hour. Winds out of the northeast going to be around 10 to maybe even 15 miles an hour as we're heading into the early afternoon, but quite a bit lighter than what we were witnessing yesterday. Either way, just a little bit breezy out there into the afternoon. Daytime highs not too bad at all, though 73 to 4 degrees by 3 p.m. or so here in Corpus Christi. Those winds going to continue to bring in that cool and dry air today until we start to see that return flow working into the area by tomorrow. Forecast highs in your neck of the woods, a couple 60s on the board, 69 expected for Rockport and Port Aransas, and off towards the west as you work your way towards Freer and Hebronville, maybe of some of those upper 60s, but lower 70s elsewhere as we work into the rest of the coastal bend. Either way, can't really complain about too much in the weather world as we're going into the holiday. For our upper level pattern, you can see this core of cold air that sent that cold front our way yesterday, continuing off to the east coast is what we're seeing with it. But by Saturday into Sunday, that's where that next shot of cold air in the upper level starts to work in. So Sunday is what we're really anticipating for that next cold front's arrival here in Corpus Christi before we see a reinforcing shot of that working into early next week, potentially even bringing the upper 50s back to our area as we go into that Monday and Tuesday time frame. For our forecast high temperatures, you can see that pretty well. The little bit of a roller coaster we've got going on. The 80s return by Saturday, Sunday back into the 60s. Monday and Tuesday looking pretty cool before we go into later next week. Going to start to warm back up towards average, if not just a little bit above average as we're heading into the next weekend. For our future tracker out there, nice and calm out there today. As we go into the overnight hours and tomorrow, start to see a little bit more cloud cover working in, but really tomorrow, that's where we start to even see a little bit of a rain chance returning to the Corpus Christi area. Just those very isolated brief showers going into the evening. As we go into the overnight hours, the potential is there for a couple of isolated storms to start setting up with some more unstable air in our region. But as we go into the rain chances, that's going to be where we start to see them peak by Saturday, Sunday, even into Monday. Not a total washout, but we're still going to take every drop we can get with over 10 inches to go to make up for the rainfall deficit so far this year. And looking at our 7-day forecast, I'm definitely excited about the below average temperatures making the return to the area by early next week, but then we're going to come right back up by Wednesday, going to those lower 70s with overnight lows still in the 40s.
It's the season of giving and a time when Americans typically give their most to charities. I'm Maura Barrett. Coming up, how the state of the economy may impact how generous donors are this year. November and December are when charities see a bulk of their donations come in. But this year, many Americans are weighing which charities to support and how much to give. All this amid a year in which many of them are not confident about the economic situation or their personal finances.
During the season of giving, the success of bells like this can depend on ones like this.
When the economy is doing well in terms of GDP and especially the stock market, that giving tends to respond to that in a pretty positive way.
Americans will give billions of dollars to charities during this holiday season.
Last year, U.S. charitable giving topped $590 billion. It was boosted by the rising stock market and personal income, according to a foundation report. Even amid some dramatic swings, the U.S. stock market has performed well this year, but it's been an up and down year for the wider economy, driven by uncertainty around President Trump's tariff policies. Amir Pasek is a professor of philanthropic studies at Indiana University.
Uncertainty is not good for philanthropy. So when times are uncertain, where unusual things are happening, when people feel a little bit uncertain in terms of their economic status, then they may hold back.
3 in 5 Americans say their charitable giving is affected by inflation, according to a recent survey from WalletHub. Charities like the Salvation Army hope that doesn't hold people back this year.
One of the things that we've learned from our past history is that in times like this, that the American public has usually responded very well and been very generous to try to help us meet the added needs that are there across the country.
Americans gave a record $644 billion in 2021 amid the COVID pandemic, but giving dropped off by 15% between 2007 and 2009 following the Great Recession.
Charities, despite economic uncertainty, are looking for more Americans finding room in their budget to give this year. Pasek's advice for charities?
Make it joyful, make it easy, make a great case for your cause, especially in these circumstances, and people will likely respond.
Maura Barrett, Scripps News Group.
Well, hey there and good morning, Coastal. Ben taking a live look out at our Snoopy's Pier Skycam thanks to Matthew CCAC. Starting to get some more light on the board with that sun rising 62 degrees. Winds out of the north-northeast about 14 miles an hour and really not too bad. Definitely feeling more like the season as we're kicking off our Thanksgiving morning. And still a few cars there as heading out along the causeway as we're kicking off our Thursday morning. Dew points, though, considerably drier than where we were the past few days. Into the upper 30s off to the north in Beeville. 50 to the southwest there in Hebronville. Some of those mid-50s as you work your way a little bit closer to the coast, but really not too bad. Definitely noticing the drier air as you're stepping out and about for our Thursday morning. Temperatures in your neighborhood, not too bad either. 62 there in Port Aransas. A little warmer also at the Naval Air Station. 50s across the board for the rest of us, with Beeville coming in at the cool spot right now, 51 degrees. And visibility's looking pretty good as well without any of that moisture in place. Of course, we're not seeing any fog on the board out there, and the radar nice and quiet as well. Plenty of sunshine gonna be expected for our Thanksgiving as we head into it, and just beautiful daytime highs as well, only getting up to about 73 degrees. Those partly cloudy skies going to start working in, especially as we head into the late afternoon and the evening hours, but rain chances not totally off the board as we head into tomorrow. I'll go over all those rain chances for the weekend and that full 7-day forecast coming up in just a bit.
Now, 20 minutes of non-stop news, sponsored by Ewald Kubota.
Hey, welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for our 20 minutes of non-stop news with the Hoffmans on this Thanksgiving morning. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. Of course, we have plenty of neighborhood news for you this morning. But first, we got to check in with meteorologist Stephen Jones for a look at those empty roadways for Thanksgiving. Good morning, by the way.
Oh, good morning, you guys, and happy Thanksgiving. I mean, you know, it's not too bad out there. How are y'all feeling about the cooler weather making its return?
It's cold.
She's not a fan. I'm okay with it. Gives me a chance to break out those jackets.
And it feels like the holidays.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, it's feeling like the season a little bit out there. And like you guys talked about, that those roadways are nice and quiet out there this morning. Really not looking too bad at all as we're looking out there. As we're looking at getting a good look at the SPID camera, it's nice and calm compared to what we've really recently seen out and about. Those roadways also looking like there's plenty of greens on the board right now. Let's get into it here, starting off with the Harbor Bridge to and from Portland this morning. Nice and green that direction, so no worries if you're heading that way. Over into Corpus Christi, just a minor slowdown there on Ocean Drive, but plenty of greens on the board, as well as over into Flower Bluff, looking nice and green this morning. So really, wherever you're coming from and going to, going to be good and green to head out the door and kick off your Thanksgiving morning.
Stephen, thanks. But of course, before you head out the door, keep in mind government offices, banks, the post office, and the New York Stock Exchange are all taking today off, so employees can celebrate with their families for this Thanksgiving. Some retail stores will also have the lights off today, including Target, Walmart, and Best Buy. So you'll have to wait to get that holiday shopping done until Black Friday, or online, of course. And if you're interested in some last need ingredients that you need for your Thanksgiving meal, you're in luck, because H-E-B stores will be open today from 6 a.m. to noon. Curbside service will be available from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Home delivery will also be available from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And if you're going to be out and about today and tomorrow, the Corpus Christi Police Department wants to remind you to lock your doors. Shopping centers are a hotspot for thieves, and according to CCPD, last year alone, there were 1,600 auto burglaries here. 700 of those cars were unlocked. So don't make it easy for those Grinches, folks. If you like it, lock it, as they say.
And there's going to be some changes to some city services today, and that's, of course, because of the Thanksgiving holiday. Well, City Hall and the City Call Center will be closed today and on Friday. Keep that in mind. All public libraries will also be closed today. There's going to be no trash or recycling pickup today. If today's your pickup day, that's going to be changed to Saturday. So the Lozano Golf Course and the Oso Golf Course will be open today from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Collier Pool and the Natatorium will be closed today. Corpus Christi Gym and the Ben Garza Gym also closed today, along with all recreation and senior centers.
I'm Melissa Trevino, your neighborhood news reporter in Robstown. Nearly 24 Nueces Electric Cooperative employees recently took a trip to Guatemala. The 3-week trip wasn't about relaxation. Instead, this crew was busy bringing electricity to residents of 2 remote villages. Flipping a light switch, a small act most of us never think about. For Journey lineman Manny Pina, it became a mission.
To provide electricity to the houses that never had power.
Pina, who's been in the business for nearly 2 decades, traveled to Guatemala for the first time with a government-funded team. They brought power to 152 homes across 2 villages, wiring houses, running lines, hanging transformers, and even installing street lights.
Because we take it for granted because we have it and other people don't have it, so I felt that I needed to go and be a part of that project.
Families, especially the children, were thrilled to see lights for the first time.
It was kind of hard seeing the kids, the way they lived and struggled without electricity for so long, and they were excited to be able to get electricity and just hit the light switch and light would come on.
NEC MIA tech Oscar Merano Jr. says the trip opened his eyes, thankful for the life he has back home.
The villages, for one, the majority of the houses were mud huts, poorly built, cooking over open fire, mud floors. I mean, they were making it work with what they had. They were looking at the light bulb and their faces lit up just the way the light bulb did, and it was a good feeling.
What started as routine work for these crews turned into something profound, flipping a switch that brought light and hope to whole communities. These employees tell me the impact wasn't just on the communities they helped, but on them as well. The next trip to other villages in Guatemala will be in 2028. In Robstown, I'm Melissa Trevino, your neighborhood news reporter, Press 6 News.
Well, hey there, good morning and happy Thanksgiving, Coastal Bend. I'm meteorologist Stephen Jones, taking a live look out at our USS Lexington Cam thanks to First Community Bank. Just a nice sunrise on the board, the aquarium nice and lit up to kick off our Thanksgiving morning. Also a little chilly out there, 55 degrees with winds out of the northeast about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Not too bad at all if you're a fan of feeling like the season. Over the past 10 hours, a decent cool down from about 65 degrees there at 8 p.m. down to 55 in the 6 a.m. hour. We're going to see if we can shave off maybe another degree or so, but looking like it's about our morning lows as we're looking out there. 49 going to be the winner this morning so far. George West 63 along the coast there in Port Aransas, just a little bit warmer. And as we're looking at Kingsville coming in at 56, Ingleside at 55 degree mark as we're kicking off our Thanksgiving morning. And for our dog walking forecast today, we've got Cash and Sunny here, already getting into the Christmas spirit just a little bit, but I think they're feeling pretty thankful for each other as we're going into our Turkey Thursday. And those temperatures for this walk this morning, 65 by 10 a.m. Those lower 70s expected to return as we head into the early afternoon, and winds out of the northeast going to continue into the afternoon at that 10 to 15 mile an hour range. So a little lighter than what we were looking at yesterday. And a sneak peek at our daytime high forecast. You can see for Thanksgiving, of course, got the turkeys running across the board. I probably would be too if it was this Turkey Thursday. And as we're looking out there, 73 degrees, winds out of the east northeast 10 to 15 miles an hour going to be around all day. And of course, plenty of sunshine. So I don't think you could ask for too much of a better forecast as we're going into our Thanksgiving holiday. Upper level pattern, you can see this is that trough of cold air that worked in yesterday for us here in the Coastal Bend, continuing its trek off towards the east. But by this weekend, that's where we see that next shot of cold air working into the area by about Sunday or so, and then going into early next week, a reinforcing shot of that cold air going to work into the central United States. So looking like we could start off December pretty cool and well below average. On our forecast daytime high temperatures, that's going to be responsible for a little bit of a roller roller coaster effect through these next few days. Going to expect those 80s to return by about Saturday, and then as we go into Monday and Tuesday, potentially even the upper 50s ready to return to our area. For the future tracker, nice and quiet for our Thanksgiving. More cloud cover starts to push in by tonight, and as we go into our Friday tomorrow, that's where it starts to kick up just a few of those rain chances. But right now on the models, looking very brief and isolated at that. Probably just that drizzle and a few sprinkles out and about. So no major downpours, and unfortunately probably not going to be great in terms of those rainfall totals. For the rain chances, though, they're not going to be completely gone as we go into the weekend. Even going to see them peak a little bit by that Saturday through Monday morning time frame. So hopefully we pick up a little more rather than less rain, because we still have over 10 inches to go to make up for the rainfall deficit so far. For our 7-day forecast, that next cold front ready to arrive by Sunday morning, cooling us off already into those 60s, if not the upper 50s. Overnight low is going to dip down as low as those lower 40s before we start to warm back up into the lower 70s by next Wednesday.
I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam. The holidays can be fun for you and your family, but they can also be exciting for scammers. So how can you stay safe this season? Let's find out. Whether you plan on hitting the stores or doing most of your shopping online, your private and financial information may be at the top of a criminal's wish list. Let's start with online shopping. Retail sales are expected to top more than $311 billion this year. If you're looking for deals from popular retailers, make sure you're going directly to their website. Try to avoid clicking on random ads you find on websites or social media. Scammers can easily build fake storefronts that look identical to the real ones. If you're unsure, do a little bit of digging. Check reviews and see what other shoppers have experienced. And with the growth of AI, you may come across ads like these. But stop right there. These products don't exist either. But fake images aren't the only thing that AI can make. Scammers are now using AI-generated voices and bots to trick people, including the most vulnerable.
It's me, President Trump, and if you want to keep making America great, you need to send me Bitcoin. You can wire it to me directly from your bank account or go to your nearest Bitcoin ATM.
It's that easy. But let's say you've been extra careful online this year. You still need to watch out in person. If you're expecting a lot of packages, keep an eye on your doorstep. Porch pirates may be on the prowl. Also be cautious of texts or messages saying your package is at the warehouse or can't be delivered. If you've done everything you can but you still fall victim to crime like these, contact local law enforcement, your bank, and federal agencies when possible. Scammers have plenty of tricks ready for this season. For a more in-depth look at what they'll be using and how you can stay safe, click on to christv.com. For Chris 6 News, I'm Adam Beam.
Avoiding politics at the table. It's Thanksgiving 101, right? Well, it may not be as taboo of a topic as you might think. A Scripps News Talker research poll found a lot of people describe politics at the Thanksgiving table in positive terms, the most common being entertaining and informative. Far fewer use words like uncomfortable or awkward. But there, of course, are some important things to keep in mind, like the fact that seeing two uncles yelling at each other about the 2024 election could be entertaining for some, but maybe not so much for others. Also, our poll found that most people tend to agree politically with their family and their friends. And just 35% say it is likely that politics comes up at all at the table. But if it does, the economy and costs we know continue to be a concern. Our poll found that this Thanksgiving, nearly 4 in 10 Americans say that they expect to spend more than last year. Some respondents saying that they were doing things like inviting less guests to their dinner or shrinking the menu. And perhaps in a surprise to no one, a majority of the country says turkey is their favorite Thanksgiving dish, stuffing a distant second. Now, when it comes to people's favorite thing to do on the big day, it is not watching football, lounging on the couch, or even the meal itself. The thing that people look forward to the most on Thanksgiving is spending time with family. Andrew Rafferty, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
The suspect in Wednesday's shooting of 2 National Guard members in the nation's capital has been identified as 29-year-old Rahmanullah Lakanwal. He was last seen in Bellingham, Washington, and was identified as an Afghan national. The 2 National Guard members on patrol when Lakanwal reportedly came around the corner and opened fire. Both guardsmen are in critical condition at this time. The suspect was also shot and was being treated at a hospital. No word yet on the motive.
President Donald Trump is brushing off off concerns about Steve Witkoff's talks with Russia. In an October 14th call between Witkoff and Russian foreign policy advisor Yuri Ushakov, Witkoff coached Ushakov on how to have Putin approach Trump. He also advised the two leaders to speak before Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the White House. The call was transcribed by Bloomberg. Trump responded to the concerns about Witkoff, saying in part, that's what a dealmaker does.
The death toll continues to rise in Hong Kong after a deadly fire tore through a massive housing complex. At last check, 55 people are dead and at least 123 people are injured, including 8 firefighters. Rescue officials say that the extreme temperatures inside the buildings are making it hard for them to reach residents they know are trapped. More than 4,000 people lived in the housing complex, many aged 65 and older. The cause of the fire is not known, but a criminal investigation has been launched.
Walmart is recalling more than 200,000 camping stoves because they can explode or catch fire. The recall involves the Ozark Trail Tabletop one-burner butane camping stove, and the manufacturer has received 26 reports of the camping stove exploding or catching fire. The stoves were sold at Walmart stores nationwide, as well as online between March 2023 through October of this year. Customers should stop using the stove and return them to Walmart for a full refund.
Walgreens is recalling more than 41,000 bottles of nasal spray because they may be contaminated with bacteria. The recall is for Walgreens saline nasal spray with Exletol. 2 lots are affected. That's 71409 and 71861. According to the FDA, they may be contaminated with bacterium found in raw milk. Walgreens says that the recall is being done out of an abundance of caution. Customers should return the nasal spray to the store for a full refund.
Chipotle Mexican Grill officially opened on the city's south side. The restaurant is located on Saratoga Boulevard near Cimarron, and this location offers a Chipotlane service, a drive-through pickup lane that allows people to pick up their digital orders without leaving their vehicles. The new Chipotle is open all week from 10:45 a.m. to 10 p.m. And hey, if you want to join the team, they're hiring. For that information, head on over to christv.com.
And well, the 99th annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade kicks off in just a little bit later on today. The parade will be hosted by Savannah Guthrie, Al Rucker, and, of course, Hoda Khattab. So with special performances by Lainey Wilson, it'll feature 34 different balloons and 27 floats. You can catch it right here on Chris TV. It's at 8:30 in just about an hour and a half.
And folks, make sure actually that you don't change the channel when the parade wraps up, because that's when the National Dog Show kicks off. John O'Hurley and David Fry will co-host the show, featuring 202 breeds and more than 2,000 of the best dogs in the country. That was actually my favorite part of Thanksgiving.
No way.
Yeah, because
really?
I've always been a dog lover, and I never had a dog growing up, so watching the dog show was my favorite thing, and I was like, that's my dream dog. That's a dog I want.
I was old-fashioned. I always just loved watching the parade.
The parade is fun, too.
Yeah.
But look at the doggos. Oh, my goodness. I'm in love.
Absolutely.
Those are pretty awesome.
You know, I think I always loved, both parts are really fun. I mean, I don't know. I think if you're going to watch one, it might as well just watch the other two, the dog show after. It's almost hard to pick a favorite. So, Brian, you said probably more so the parade. I think your favorite.
Yeah, and then, sneaking into the kitchen to, steal a little bit of scraps while they were cooking Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's not a bad plan at all. And I mean, that's a perfect plan for today, I think, as we're getting ready to head out the door. I'm not feeling too bad either out there. Definitely starting to feel like the season. 55 degrees. Here's a live look out at our USS Lexington cam, brought to us by First Community Bank. Nice and partly cloudy skies out there as we're starting to see the sunrise. The new Harbor Bridge in view, of course, and a few cars heading out for that Thanksgiving morning commute, but nice and quiet for most of our roadways out there. And you can see that on the SPID as well. In your neighborhood, in terms of temperatures, 51 going to be the cool spot out in Beeville this morning, then a little warmer as you work your way along the coast with a couple 60s. 63 going to be that warm spot in Port Aransas. Texas, with winds out of the north for all of us across the board, about 5 to upwards of 15 miles an hour there over at the Naval Air Station as we kick off for Thanksgiving. For our dog walking forecast today, we've got Cash and Sunny on the board. We're already getting into the Christmas spirit just a little bit, but looks like they're feeling pretty thankful for each other as we're celebrating our Thanksgiving holiday. Those temperatures for their walk this morning going to be about 65 there by 10 a.m., entering the lower 70s on the warm-up, entering that noon hour into the lunchtime, and winds out of the northeast 10 to 15 miles an hour expected to continue into the early afternoon, so not too bad for that walk for Cash and Sunny today. Planning out the rest of the day here in Corpus Christi, 73 to 4 degrees expected for that daytime high by about 3 p.m. and those winds, like we talked about, continuing into the afternoon, but not too bad compared to what we saw yesterday, with wind gusts upwards of 30 to 40 miles an hour. Forecast highs in your neck of the woods, a couple of those upper 60s on the board, but most of us today going to be chasing the low to mid 70s, forecasting about 73 to 4 here in Corpus Christi. That 70-degree mark off to the north there in Beeville, and also off to the southwest, seeing about 67 over in Hebronville. So pretty cool temperatures for our Thanksgiving, and the 7-day forecast looking even better if you're a fan of the cooler weather. Look at next week after we get that cold front in here by Sunday morning, entering those 60s, if not the upper 50s for Monday. So even the overnight lows in those lower 40s. The 40s starting to get a little bit chilly for me. What about you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Without
But I see the 70 on the Wednesday part, so that's what I'm waiting for.
Fair, yeah, you know, that's not going to be too bad, so it starts to come back around. Just a bit of a roller coaster for us.
Yeah, I'm excited to bring out those trench coats again.
There you go.
Well, hey, thank you so much for tuning in, folks. We hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Don't overeat, but if you do, we'll see you next time.